The acrid smell of burned circuits and melted plasteel filled Marcus Rivera's nostrils as he picked his way through the debris-strewn corridor of Medical Station Epsilon 7. His medical scanner beeped softly against his hip, its familiar weight a small comfort in the devastation surrounding him. Emergency lighting cast eerie red shadows across twisted metal and shattered glass, the aftermath of what intelligence had called a minor skirmish. Minor skirmish, his ass. Marcus adjusted the strap of his field medical kit, stepping carefully. Over a fallen support beam. The place looked like it had been hit by a plasma storm. His boots crunched on scattered debris as he made his way toward the main medical bay, following the faint biosignature his scanner had detected. 3 days. 3 days since the evacuation order had come down, and he'd volunteered to stay behind for final sweep operations. The brass had been clear rescue any human survivors, document losses, then get out. Nothing about what to do if he found something else. The biosignature grew stronger as he approached the collapsed eastern wing. Marcus paused, checking his scanner again. The readings were ... unusual, higher body temperature than human normal. But the heart rate pattern was definitely that of an intelligent species. His training kicked in. Injured meant priority, regardless of species classification. He found her in what had once been the trauma ward. The Catherian warrior lay partially, buried under a collapsed medical pod, her distinctive blue-black hair spread across the rubble like spilled ink. Even unconscious and bloodied, she was stunning in that otherworldly way that made humans stop and stare. Her skin held the characteristic pale golden sheen of her people, though it was currently marred by cuts and plasma burns. The elegant bone. Ridges along her temples, marking her as a member of the warrior caste, were cracked but intact. Marcus knelt beside her, his scanner confirming what his eyes already told him. Severe spinal trauma, internal bleeding, possible concussion. Without immediate medical intervention, she had maybe an hour. Easy there, he murmured, more to himself than her, as he began clearing debris from around her body. The metal was heavier than it looked, and by the time he'd freed her legs, sweat was beading on his forehead, despite the station's failing climate control. Her eyes fluttered open as he worked, the distinctive silver violet of Catherian irises, currently clouded with pain. They focused on him with obvious effort, and her lips moved soundlessly before she managed to speak. Human. The word carried no inflection, but Marcus caught the underlying surprise. Her voice was melodic, even roughened by pain, carrying the accent that made Catherian English sound like music. That's right. I'm Marcus Medic Rivera. Can you tell me your name? She was silent for so long, he thought she'd lost consciousness again. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. Zara. Zara Velthara, 3rd Blade of the Crimson Squadron. Pause, then more quietly. Former 3rd Blade. What happened here, Zara? Marcus asked, running his scanner over her spine. The readings made him wince. 3 vertebrae fractured, nerve damage extensive, but potentially repairable with proper treatment. Thraxian ambush. They knew we were coming. Her silver eyes tracked his movements as he worked. My squadron. They evacuated with the wounded they could carry. The implication hung heavy in the air. They'd left her because she couldn't walk. Well, they're idiots, Marcus said matter-of-factly, earning him a sharp look from those striking eyes. You're 3rd Blade, right? That makes you what? Equivalent to a human lieutenant colonel? Nobody gets to that rank without being worth 10 regular soldiers. Something shifted in her expression. Surprise, maybe even the hint of a smile. You know our military structure. I make it my business to know about the people I might have to patch up. He finished his preliminary scan and reached for his field surgery kit. Good news is, I can stabilize you. Bad news is, we're stuck here until I can arrange transport. No transport will come for me. Zara's voice was steady, matter-of-fact, I am crippled. Among my people, a warrior who cannot fight is better left to die with honor. Marcus paused in setting up his mobile surgical unit, looking at her with genuine confusion. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I once heard a guy argue that plasma grenades make good fishing lures. Despite her pain, Zara's lips twitched upward. You find our traditions amusing? I find waste annoying. Marcus activated the surgical field around them, bathing them both in sterile blue light. You've got a brilliant tactical mind, advanced combat training, and probably more combat experience than half my unit combined. Throwing all that away because you can't currently walk is like scrapping a starship because it needs new engines. An interesting analogy. She watched him prepare the neural stabilizer with professional interest. Are all humans so practical about such things? Most of us, yeah. We tend to judge people by what they can contribute, not what they can't do. He met her eyes as he positioned the device. This is going to hurt initially, then go numb. Ready? She nodded, and Marcus activated the stabilizer. Zara's entire body went rigid, her hands clenching into fists as the device sent targeted electromagnetic pulses through her damaged nervous system. A sound escaped her, not quite a gasp, not quite a cry that made something clench in Marcus's chest. Almost done, he murmured, monitoring the readings. You're tougher than most of the Marines I've treated. The tension left her body as the numbing effect took hold, and Zara experimentally moved her fingers. I can feel them again. My hands. The legs will take longer, but you should get most function back with proper rehabilitation. Marcus began cleaning and sealing the worst of her external wounds. Your people really don't have accommodations for injured warriors? Weakness is not tolerated in Catherian society. Her voice was distant, thoughtful. A warrior's worth is measured in their ability to serve. Without that ... She shrugged, the gesture somehow elegant, even lying on rubble-strewn floor. Then, your society is missing out. Marcus finished with the wound sealant and began setting up a recovery area using salvaged medical equipment. Intelligence, experience, strategic thinking, those don't come from strong legs. They come from a strong mind. He worked efficiently, creating a surprisingly comfortable space in the ruins of the medical bay. Powered by emergency cells, it was warm, clean, and secure. As he helped Zara settle onto the makeshift bed, she caught his wrist with surprising strength. Why? She asked simply. Why what? Why are you doing this? I am not your species, not your responsibility. Your orders surely do not include caring for abandoned Catherian warriors. Marcus looked down at her hand on his wrist, noting the elegant bone structure, the subtle strength, the way her long fingers seemed designed for both artistic creation and deadly efficiency. When he met her eyes, he found himself being completely honest, because it's the right thing to do, because you deserve better than being left to die alone, and because he paused, surprised by his own words. Because I've never met anyone who impressed me as much as you have in the last hour. Zara's grip loosened, but she didn't release him entirely. I do not understand humans. Most of the time, neither do we. Marcus smiled, settling into a chair he'd cobbled together from medical equipment. But we figure it out as we go. Rest. Now you need to heal. As Zara's eyes drifted closed, her breathing evening out into sleep, Marcus found himself studying her face in the soft medical lighting. Beautiful, yes, but it was more than that. There was strength there, intelligence, a quiet dignity that hadn't been broken by pain or abandonment. Outside, the station's hall creaked and settled, damaged systems humming and flickering. His communicator remained stubbornly silent, no word. From command, no extraction timeline. They were alone in the ruins, two people from different worlds thrown together by circumstance. Marcus leaned back in his improvised chair, keeping one eye on Zara's vital signs while his mind wandered. 3 days minimum before anyone would even think to look for him. 3 days to keep her alive, help her heal, and figure out what came next. He'd saved her life. But looking at her sleeping face in the blue glow of the medical equipment, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that she was going to change his just as dramatically. The first night passed quietly, with Marcus monitoring Zara's condition and making repairs to their temporary shelter. When she woke the next morning, those silver-violet eyes were clearer, more focused. "Good morning," he said, offering her a ration pack warmed over a chemical heater. "How do you feel?" "Different." She accepted the food with careful dignity. "The pain is less, but there is something else. A clarity I did not expect. That's the neural stabilizer working. It doesn't just repair damage, it can enhance existing pathways while it works." Marcus settled beside her with his own breakfast. "You might find your reflexes are actually better than before, once the mobility comes back." Zara took a careful bite of the ration, her expression thoughtful. "You speak as though my recovery is certain." "It is, with proper care and rehabilitation, which you're going to get. And after? When I am healed?" Her voice carried a weight that made Marcus look at her more closely. What then for a warrior with no place in her own society? The question hung between them, heavy with implications. Marcus found himself leaning forward, his voice gentler than before. "Then you make a new place. Write your own rules. Find people who value you for who you are, not just what you can physically do." He paused, then added quietly, "Find someone who sees your true worth." Their eyes met and held, and for a moment, the ruins around them seemed less important than the connection forming between them. Zara was the first to look away, but Marcus caught the faint flush that colored her golden cheeks. Outside their shelter, the damaged station groaned and settled, a reminder of the destruction that had brought them together. But inside, warmed by salvaged equipment and growing understanding, something new was beginning to take root, something that would challenge everything both of them thought they knew about their places in the universe. The morning of their third day together brought unexpected challenges. Marcus woke to the soft chime of his perimeter sensors. Something was moving outside their makeshift shelter. He checked his scanner quietly, not wanting to wake Zara, but her eyes were already open, alert and focused. "Patrol," she whispered, her enhanced hearing picking up sounds his human ears missed. "Thraxian, by the footstep pattern. 3, maybe 4 soldiers." Marcus nodded, impressed despite the circumstances. Even injured, her warrior instincts remained sharp. They waited in tense silence as the footsteps passed by their concealed location, continuing deeper into the station's ruins. Only when the sounds faded completely did either of them relax. "How long have they been searching?" Marcus asked quietly, checking his equipment. "Since yesterday. They return every few hours." Zara struggled to sit up straighter, frustration evident in her movements. "They seek survivors to eliminate, evidence to destroy." "Well, they're not getting either." Marcus helped adjust her position, noting how she tried to hide her continued dependence on his assistance. "Your people really taught you that needing help is weakness, didn't they?" Zara's jaw tightened. "Independence is survival. Reliance on others." She gestured at her legs, still responding sluggishly to her commands. "This proves the point." "No, this proves you're healing from a major spinal injury." Marcus began his daily examination, running the scanner over her neural pathways. "Look at these readings. Nerve conduction is up 30% from yesterday. You're not weak, Zara. You're recovering." She watched the scanner's display with professional interest, her scientific curiosity warring with ingrained beliefs. Among humans, injury does not diminish social standing. Sometimes it enhances it. Marcus began the daily physical therapy routine they'd established. We have stories about people who overcame incredible injuries to achieve amazing things. Heroes who fought battles they couldn't win. Leaders who never gave up despite overwhelming odds. And they are celebrated? Revered? He guided her through range of motion exercises, his hands gentle but firm on her legs. We believe that how you face adversity reveals your true character. Zara was quiet for several minutes, focusing on the exercises. When she spoke again, her voice was thoughtful. Your hands are very skilled. You were trained for more than basic field medicine. Marcus felt heat rise in his cheeks. Her observation was accurate and uncomfortably perceptive. I was studying to be a surgeon before the war, specialized in neurological trauma. Was? You speak in past tense. Plans change. He didn't elaborate, but something in his tone made Zara study his face more carefully. You left your studies to become a military medic. Why? The direct question caught him off guard. Most people didn't push when he deflected. Someone needed to help the people getting hurt out here. Seemed more important than finishing my dissertation. And your family? They supported this choice? Marcus's hands stilled for just a moment before resuming their work. My parents think I threw my life away. Said I was being foolishly idealistic. He met her eyes briefly. Maybe they were right. No. The firmness in Zara's voice surprised him. I have known many healers, human and Cytherian. Most treat injury as a puzzle to solve, a challenge to their skill. You treat the person behind the injury as someone worthy of care. She paused, then added more softly, That is not foolish. That is rare. Their eyes met and held, and Marcus felt something shift between them. The professional distance he'd maintained was dissolving, replaced by something more personal, more intimate. Tell me about your world, he said, settling beside her as he prepared the afternoon's neural stimulation treatment. What's it like when it's not at war? Zara's expression grew distant, almost dreamy, beautiful. Our cities are grown rather than built living architecture that responds to the seasons. The capital, Velthara Prime, has towers that sing in the wind and gardens that glow with bioluminescent flowers. It sounds amazing. Do you miss it? I miss what it represented. Home, belonging, purpose. She was quiet for a moment. But I find myself wondering if I ever truly had those things, or if I simply believed I did because I was expected to. Marcus activated the neural stimulator, watching her face as the treatment began. Over the past days, he'd learned to read her subtle expressions, the slight tightening around her eyes when something hurt, the way her lips curved when she was amused, the soft relaxation of her features when she felt safe. What about you? She asked as the treatment worked its way through her damaged nervous system. What did Earth mean to you before you left? Honestly, not much. I was so focused on my studies, my career plans, that I never really connected with home. My parents wanted me to follow their path safe, predictable, profitable. He adjusted the stimulator's settings. But out here, helping people like you, this feels more real than anything I ever did back there. People like me, Zara repeated thoughtfully. Broken warriors with nowhere to go? Strong people who've been dealt a bad hand but keep fighting anyway. Marcus's voice was gentle but certain. Beautiful people who make me want to be better than I am. The last words slipped out before he could stop them. Zara's silver violet. Eyes widened, and Marcus felt his face burning with embarrassment. I'm sorry, that was inappropriate. Was it true? She interrupted. Marcus met her gaze, seeing something vulnerable and hopeful there that made his heart race. Yes, every word. They sat in silence for several heartbeats, the air between them, charged with new possibility. Finally, Zara spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. I have never been called beautiful by someone who knew me as more than decoration. Among my people, Female warriors are ... functional. Our appearance is secondary to our utility. Then your people are blind. Marcus reached out, his fingers barely brushing her cheek. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, but that's not even the best thing about you. What is? Your mind. Your courage. The way you refuse to give up even when everything's against you. His thumb traced along her jawline, marveling at the smooth warmth of her skin. The way you make me want to be worthy of your trust. Zara leaned into his touch, her eyes fluttering closed. Marcus ... The moment was interrupted by his perimeter alarm multiple contacts approaching fast. Marcus immediately switched back to professional mode, helping Zara into the concealed position they'd practiced. 8 hostiles, she whispered after listening to the approaching footsteps. Different pattern than before. They're searching more systematically. Marcus checked his weapon and medical supplies, mind racing through options. Their hiding place was good, but not perfect. If the Thraxians decided to thoroughly search the medical bay. There, Zara said softly, pointing to a maintenance shaft partially hidden behind fallen debris. It connects to the main power conduit. We can follow it to the outer hull. Can you make it? She was already moving, her legs responding better than they had since the injury. I will make it. Marcus helped her into the shaft, admiring both her determination and the fluid way she moved despite her limitations. As they crawled through the narrow space, he found himself acutely aware of her presence, the sound of her breathing, the warmth of her body in the confined space, the subtle scent that was uniquely hers. They emerged into a small maintenance bay just as the Thraxian patrol reached their former hiding place. Through a crack in the wall, they could see the aliens methodically destroying what remained of the medical equipment. They know someone was there, Zara breathed against his ear, her voice barely audible. But not where we went. Marcus nodded, trying to ignore the way her breath on his skin sent shivers through him. They were pressed close together in the tiny space, her body warm against his side. In the dim emergency lighting, her eyes seemed to glow with their own inner fire. When they leave, he whispered back, we'll need to find a new shelter, somewhere more secure. I know a place. Her hand found his in the darkness, fingers intertwining. There are old research labs in the lower levels. Shielded, multiple exits. Can you make it that far? Instead of answering, she squeezed his hand. Through their joined fingers, he felt the tremor in her muscles, not from weakness, but from the effort of suppressing her body's healing responses. She was getting stronger, but she was also in considerable pain. Zara, I can make it, she said firmly. With you. The simple addition of those 2 words carried weight far beyond their literal meaning. Marcus found himself smiling despite their dangerous situation. They waited until the patrol moved on, then carefully made their way deeper into the station. Zara's knowledge of the layout proved invaluable, and Marcus found himself increasingly impressed by her tactical awareness. Even injured, she moved with a grace and purpose that spoke of years of training and natural ability. The research lab she led him to was everything she'd promised secure, well hidden, and surprisingly intact. As Marcus set up their new shelter, he caught Zara watching him with an expression he couldn't quite read. What? He asked, pausing in his work. You could have left me, she said quietly. Even now, you could abandon me and extract yourself safely. Your duty is to your own people. Marcus set down the equipment he'd been arranging and turned to face her fully. Is that what you think? That I'm here out of duty? I am not certain what to think. He crossed to where she sat, kneeling beside her so they were at eye level. Zara, I'm not here because of duty or orders or military protocol. I'm here because I can't imagine being anywhere else. Her breath caught. Marcus ... I'm here because when I look at you, I see everything I want to protect in this universe. Your strength, your intelligence, your beauty all in it. His hand cupped her face gently. I'm here because somehow, in the middle of this disaster, I found someone worth fighting for. This time, when their lips met, there were no interruptions. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, then deeper as weeks of growing connection, and mutual respect transformed into something more profound. When they broke apart, both were breathing heavily. This is complicated, Zara whispered against his lips. Everything worthwhile is complicated. Marcus smiled, resting his forehead against hers. But I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Outside their shelter, the damaged station settled into evening quiet. But inside, surrounded by salvaged equipment and growing intimacy, two people from different worlds were discovering that the most important distances weren't measured in light years, but in the willingness to open one's heart to the impossible. As they settled in for another night together, Marcus realized that somewhere between treating her injuries and sharing their stories, he'd fallen completely in love with the warrior, woman who'd already begun to heal more than just her physical wounds. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new dangers. But tonight, in their hidden sanctuary, they had each other, and that was enough. The explosion that shattered their morning peace came without warning. Marcus jerked awake to the sound of twisted metal and Zara's sharp intake of breath as debris rained down around their shelter. His medical scanner was screaming alerts multiple. Life signs approaching fast. Human extraction team, Zara said, her enhanced hearing parsing the distant voices. But there's something else. Something that doesn't belong. Marcus was already gathering their essential supplies, his movements efficient despite the adrenaline coursing through his system. What kind of something? Etherian. Moving with hunter's stealth. Her silver eyes met his, and he saw fear there for the first time. They've sent a Shadowbane after me. A what? Assassin. Elite caste. Zara struggled to her feet, her legs still unsteady, but responding better than they had days ago. My people do not simply abandon their warriors to die. They ensure death. Comes quickly, to prevent ... complications. Marcus felt ice form in his stomach. Complications like recovery? Like testimony about why we were truly abandoned. Zara's voice was grim as she checked the energy levels on a salvaged weapon. Or like forming attachments that might compromise clan loyalty. The sound of approaching footsteps grew louder. Heavy combat boots mixed with the whisper-soft tread of someone trained to kill silently. Marcus activated his communicator, broadcasting on standard human frequencies. This is Medic Rivera, Station Epsilon 7, requesting immediate extraction for 2. The response crackled through static. Rivera, this is Captain Kane. We're here for you, son. But sensors show you're not alone. Correct. I have a wounded Kitherian warrior requiring medical evacuation. A long pause. Negative on the alien. Rivera, orders are clear human personnel only. Marcus felt Zara's hand touch his arm, her expression resigned. Go, she said quietly. You've done more than enough. Like hell, Marcus keyed his come again. Captain, this warrior has valuable intelligence about Thraxian operations. She's also severely injured and under my medical protection. Son, I understand your position, but we can't risk. The transmission cut off abruptly, replaced by the distinctive whine of energy weapons charging. Through a crack in their shelter, Marcus saw a figure in matte black armor materialize from the shadows, tall, elegant, and absolutely lethal. Nick's Shadowbane, Zara breathed, recognition and terror warring in her voice. The clan's best killer. The assassin moved with fluid grace, her weapon something that looked like a cross between a rifle and a piece of abstract art, sweeping the area with predatory precision. Even at a distance, Marcus could see the cold calculation in her movements. Zara. Veal Thara, the assassin called out, her voice carrying easily through the ruins. You have brought shame upon the Crimson Squadron. Your weakness infects those around you. Come forward and die with what honor remains. She's trying to draw me out, Zara whispered. Standard Shadowbane tactics. What's the non-standard response? A ghost of a smile crossed Zara's face. Run like hell while shooting back. Marcus was about to respond when Captain Kane's voice echoed through the station. This is human territory, alien. Stand down immediately. Nix's reply came in the form of an energy blast that sent Kane and his team diving for cover. The political situation had just become irrelevant. Everyone was now in a fight for their lives. Move, Marcus said, helping Zara toward the rear exit they'd scouted days earlier. Can you make it to the outer hull? With you? Yes. She leaned on him more than her pride wanted to allow, but her legs were gaining strength with each step. There's something else you should know about Shadowbanes. What? They don't stop. Ever. Even if we escape the station, she'll hunt us across the galaxy if necessary. Marcus absorbed this information as they made their way through twisting maintenance corridors, the sounds of battle echoing behind them. Then we make sure she can't follow. They emerged into the station's main docking bay, just as Kane's extraction shuttle lifted off apparently. The captain had decided discretion was the better part of valor. Marcus felt a moment of bitter disappointment before focusing on their immediate survival. There, Zara pointed to a small maintenance pod designed for external hull work. It's not much, but it's space-worthy. As they approached the pod, Marcus's scanner picked up movement behind them fast, getting closer. She's coming. They reached the pod just as Nick's Shadowbane materialized at the bay entrance, her weapon already tracking toward them. Marcus shoved Zara inside and dove after her as energy blasts seared the air where they'd been standing. Can you fly this thing? He asked, sealing the hatch. Well enough. Zara's hands moved over unfamiliar human controls with surprising dexterity. No. I should mention Shadowbanes are also trained pilots. The pod lurched into motion just as another energy blast struck where it had been sitting. Through the rear viewer, Marcus watched Nix sprint toward a sleek Catherian fighter that hadn't been there moments before. Cloaked ship, Zara muttered, wrestling with the pod's sluggish controls. She came prepared. The little maintenance pod shot out of the docking bay and into open space, but Marcus knew their lead wouldn't last long. Sure enough, the elegant fighter emerged moments later, moving with predatory grace as it closed the distance. Where can we go? Marcus asked, checking their limited supplies. Nowhere that she can't follow. Zara's hands were steady on the controls, despite their desperate situation. But there is one place she might hesitate to pursue us. Where? The Forgotten Reaches. Ancient Catherian territory, abandoned for millennia. There are stories about what remains there. Marcus felt the pod shudder as the first pursuit shots bracketed them. Stories? Ghost tales. Legends of technology so old and powerful that even the Shadowbanes fear it. Zara executed a surprisingly graceful evasive maneuver. Most believe them to be myths, and you? I think myths sometimes exist to hide truths too dangerous to speak openly. She met his eyes briefly. Are you willing to trust me with both our lives? Another energy blast, closer this time. Marcus could see the fighter in their rear display, beautiful and lethal as it closed for the killing shot. Always, he said without hesitation. Zara's smile was radiant despite their circumstances. Then hold on. We're about to find out what legends are made of. She pushed the pod's engines past their safety limits, racing toward a sector of space that didn't appear on any current charts. Behind them, Nick's Shadowbane's fighter followed with relentless precision, but Marcus noticed something the assassin's shots, while accurate, weren't quite connecting. Almost as if she was hurting them rather than trying to destroy them outright. She wants us alive, he realized. No, Zara corrected grimly. She wants me alive. Long enough to extract information about what I've learned, who I've told, what I might know about the clan's secrets. Her voice dropped. She'll kill the moment. It's convenient. The space around them began to change as they entered the Forgotten Reaches. Ancient debris floated in complex patterns, and Marcus's instruments detected energy signatures unlike anything in current databases. The stars themselves seemed dimmer, as if the very light was older, more tired. There, Zara pointed to, a massive structure emerging from the cosmic dust as space station or ancient habitat, its architecture flowing and organic in a way that human engineering had never achieved. If the legends are true, that's a sanctuary of the first builders. And if the legends are wrong, then we're about to become very decorative debris. As they approached the ancient station, Marcus felt a strange sensation, not quite vertigo, not quite recognition. Something about the structure called to him on a level deeper than conscious thought. Beside him, Zara had gone very still, her eyes wide with wonder and growing understanding. "Marcus," she whispered, "look at your hands." He glanced down and nearly lost control of his breathing. His skin was glowing with soft, blue-white light that seemed to pulse in harmony with the approaching station. When he looked at Zara, he saw the same luminescence dancing across her golden skin. "What's happening? To us?" Before she could answer, the ancient station's docking bay doors opened, not with mechanical precision, but with fluid organic grace, as if the station itself was welcoming them home. Behind them, Nyx Shadowbane's fighter had stopped pursuing. Hanging motionless in space at what seemed to be a precise distance from the ancient structure. "She won't follow," Zara breathed. "The legends ... they're true." As their pods settled into the station's embrace, Marcus felt something fundamental shift inside him. The glow in his skin intensified, and through some impossible connection, he could feel Zara's heartbeat as clearly as his own. "Whatever's happening," he said, reaching for her hand, "we face it together." Her fingers intertwined with his, and the combined light from their skin illuminated the pod's interior like captured starlight. Outside, the ancient station welcomed them into mysteries that would change everything they thought they knew about themselves, their peoples, and they. Bonds that could form between souls from different worlds. The chase was over, but their real journey was just beginning. As the docking bay sealed behind them, Marcus caught one last glimpse of Nyx Shadowbane's fighter in the distance waiting, watching, but unable or unwilling to follow them into the realm of legends. Made manifest, they were safe for now. But more importantly, they were together, glowing with power neither understood, approaching secrets that might hold the key to not just their survival, but their destiny among the stars.